Well, hello everybody, and welcome to my first actual vlog. What? No, wait, my previous one was the first actual vlog, but this is the first vlog I'm doing since I've had my first therapy session, which I really wanted to talk about because that was my plan. I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I was actually quite scared and nervous about the first therapy session, of course, because it's the first therapy session and I wasn't quite sure what to expect. Because one of the things I was most scared about is that she wanted to do like exposure therapy, and in my case that is that you force a panic attack, and of course that's really scary because panic attacks are one of the things I'm most scared of. But that was kind of true in a way. So I came there, I arrived, and we went upstairs and started off with discussing my week, how it went and how I was feeling at the moment. Well, in the past week I've had one a really big panic attack. I don't know what it's called in English. Well, there was this like kind of bridge thingy over water, and it opened and closed at different sections. So there were three sections. Wait, I need to focus. So, oh, my fingers are so fat and tiny and small. Oh my god, look at that. Oh god, it's even worse on camera. Oh, I'm sorry about it. So there were three bridges like these. And oh well, these are two bridges. Like this was a bridge, this was a bridge, this was a bridge. I was on the middle one, and then both opened, so I was stuck on the middle one, on the middle platform between the two these two bridges. So that kind of sucked. And then I had a really bad panic attack, hyperventilating, sweating. At one point, yeah, it got really serious, where I kind of wanted to die, which sounds pretty extreme. But if you're dealing with these severe panic attacks for like, I think I'm 22 now, so for at least 6 years or something, it gets tiring. Like at one point you just, yeah, you don't see the end of the road, and it just really sucks. So we spoke about that, and she said, okay, well, that's what we're kind of trying to cure your panic attacks, so that that kind of things don't happen anymore, so that you can easily go with the ferry and go with the car and blah blah, because all those kind of things I can't do anymore because I'm literally too scared, and like it really sucks. So we spoke about that, and then we started to discuss the 3 ways we can do this therapy. So there are 3 options, and one is that we're gonna, because what we need to do is find out if my fears actually come true when I have a panic attack. And for me, my fears are vomiting. That's for some reason, I really don't know, and she told me that it actually doesn't even matter where the fears come from, because we just need to get rid of the fears. And this is not one of these things where you need to figure out the root of your problems. It's just we need to prove to myself that once I have a panic attack, I'm not gonna vomit, because it never happened to me in the past 6 years. Because of course I know I'm not gonna vomit, because it didn't happen in the last 6 years, and I've had panic attacks for at least 1 to 3 times a day. So of course I know it's true. We need to discover how a panic attack works with me, and she needs to see it. So there are 3 options to do that. One is to actually give me a panic attack while I'm there in a room, which really terrifies the fuck out of me, because then I'm gonna have a panic attack, and then I'm gonna associate that place with panic attack. So I think I don't want to go to therapy then anymore. But so that's one thing. The other thing is that we actually go to like a ferry, or go on a car ride, or with the public transport, which also really scares me, I think even more. So that also sucks. And the last option is that we're gonna like evaluate panic attacks I've already had. So that's more mellow, and I decided to start out with that one because that's least scary. That's what we're gonna start out with, and eventually, of course, we're gonna have to do the other 2. But I want to be more, I want to feel more safe with her, because this was the 3rd time I saw her, the therapist, and I just want to feel more at ease. So while we were doing the 3rd option, because we started immediately, so we took the panic attack from last Thursday, and we kind of started scrutinizing it. So when did it start? How did it feel? What was the trigger? What were the thoughts? and we have to give arguments for like why did it start, and if those fears were rational. That's what we had to do. So actually, when we started to do that, she started using those terms like vomiting and that. Oh, that freaked me the fuck out. So then I actually got a panic attack while I was there with her. It wasn't like a huge panic attack, because like they come in different degrees with me. This was like on a scale from 1 to 10, maybe 5. So it was pretty mellow still, but it was a panic attack. Like my breathing and my heart, and I got nauseous. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. That's why I do things with my hands, and then of course drop things because I'm a klutz. But I'm kind of clumsy. But yeah, so I actually got a minor panic attack while we were doing it, and she was really cool about it, of course, because I mean that's what she trained for. But yeah, we started talking, and then I got a panic attack, and she noticed, and then but she waited for me to say like, "Yo, we gotta stop right now. I'm having a panic attack." So when I told her that, she was like, "Oh, okay, that's no problem. What do you want to do right now?" And I was actually, fuck, I keep fucking up. I was actually like, okay, I want to leave. I need to leave. And then she said, well, no, you're gonna stay right here. You're gonna sit down, and we're gonna ride this out. We're gonna just wait till it passes, and then we can talk about it. And yeah, that was scary, because one of the things I do when I have a panic attack is like they call it kind of like safety nets. So you have different safety nets. For example, distracting yourself is always a safety net, like listening to music or focus on your breathing, trying to calm down. That's all kind of safety nets. Or for example, lying down on bed, watching a series, watching a movie, something like that. Those are all safety nets. And one of my safety nets also is to drink, like cola or lemonade. Because one of the things when I have a panic attack is that like my throat, it feels really swollen or something, and somehow I got to the point where I thought that maybe drinking will like flush it down or something. I don't know. So drinking is also one of my safety nets. That's why I always have water with me or something. And I had that also. So I had that on her desk, the bottle of water. Well, actually, a bottle of lemonade on her desk, and I wasn't allowed to drink that. So that also really sucked, because all of a sudden all of my safety nets were I wasn't allowed to use those. So I wasn't allowed to listen to music, I wasn't allowed to go outside, I wasn't allowed to drink, and that sucked. But eventually, of course, because I'm not dumb, like I have these panic attacks for so long, I know how they work and I know they pass eventually. But it was really weird to see that actually without those safety nets, the panic attacks still pass after a while, and pretty quickly. Well, because it was kind of a minor panic attack, but it lasted like 10-15 minutes or something, and then it passed. So that was actually good. It was really productive, and after that I felt actually, well, of course tired because panic attacks are really tiring, but I felt pretty good because nothing happened. I was in a safe place, so I'm happy about that. So what we're gonna do now is I have to do these assignments for myself. First of all, I have to try to get rid of the most obvious safety nets, which is gonna suck, because yeah, of course they're called safety nets, so I feel safe when I use those. But I have to get rid of those. I have to focus on that I'm not gonna use the safety nets when I feel a panic attack coming up or something. I'm just gonna have to learn to write them out and see that nothing bad happens. And it's weird because of course I know nothing bad happens, but I don't know how. But I need to get my body there to the point where it knows that nothing happens. So I need to actually break the link, because this is panic attack and this is vomiting, and there's a really strong bond there, but I need to prove that there's actually no connection, like it's not even close to each other, if you get what I'm saying, right? So that's what we need to do, and that's scary, but it has to happen, I guess, and I'm really willing to try it because I'm done with this shit. So yeah, that's my assignment for this week, and next week we're gonna see how it went, and I don't know what else we're gonna do next week, and that's also really scary, but we'll see. So that was my first therapy session. Of course, one thing that I learned is that nothing bad happens during a panic attack, even though I already knew that nothing bad happens during a panic attack, but I'm really gonna focus on that nothing actually happens when I have a panic attack. Like when it's gone, and nothing bad happens. So that's one thing I really learned about that. Of course, that I need to stop using my safety nets, and that's scary, but that's also one thing I learned. Also, one thing I want you guys to think about for having panic attacks. For example, when you're really stressed out or something, like some people smoke excessively when they're stressed out, and that's also like a safety net, because you don't need to smoke when you're stressed out. Your body can handle it perfectly, and then you're gonna see that the stress, yeah, it'll pass, it'll fade. And that's one thing I learned, and one thing I want you guys to think about. So oh yeah, and also what I wanted to say, I thought about this on the way there, because of course I was thinking about vlogging about this. So one thing I thought about was I don't want you guys to see this as a way to not have to go to the therapist, because if you're dealing with your shit, if you have shit, go to the therapist immediately, because you don't want it to get worse. And me telling you what happens during therapy is still not gonna fix it, because there's so much we discuss. Like, this video is 10 minutes and a therapy session is 45 minutes. Like, we discuss so much more than I can tell you on camera, because also, like, there's obviously some sort of doctor-patient confidentiality, but I think also the other way around, so I'm not allowed to say much about it. So if you're dealing with shit, just go to the therapist. Don't like think like, I know how to deal with it, so I'm gonna deal with it, because that's not gonna work. Like, you need help. You actually need help. So that's also one thing I want to say to you guys. Like, if you need help, go get it. Don't take your lessons from me. So that was it. That was my first therapy session. I'm really scared, but also really eager about the next one. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative, and I will see you guys next week. Bye bye.